In this video, we will focus on the detail node of the work with object to examine how its various sections are displayed. Suppose that we have an entity A with an entity B subordinated to it. That is to say, for each A, there will be many related Bs, as in speakers and sessions of the relationship table. Each speaker can be a speaker in many sessions. So, when the work with pattern is applied to entity A, under the detail node, in addition to the general section, corresponding to the panel with the layout for viewing, view, or editing, edit, the information in A, in the rules section, we will find the parm rule to filter by this entity A. As we said before, in addition to this section, a section for viewing related repetitive data will be displayed. That is to say, the entity B section will have one grid. This section will also have to receive by parameter the entity A in question, to filter by it and keep only the related data. If A corresponds to speakers, and B corresponds to these speakers' sessions, when we open Work with Speakers, and its section, Detail, we see that the general section receives the speaker ID, primary key, as parameter. And the same will happen with the section corresponding to sessions, so that this speaker's sessions can be filtered in the grid as shown below. At runtime, from the speakers list we select one speaker, and we see that both sections are now displayed as tabs in the Android emulator. Remember that the application used as a model, presented in the first video, featured a more polished design to show detail sections as tabs when running on Android. This will be the default option for this platform. However, in the iPad, the general section was displayed inline in the layout itself. The section corresponding to sessions, since it has a grid, was displayed with a link to a separate screen. This will be the default option for the iPad. Where is this behavior configured? Can we change it? Within each platform's possibilities, the default option may vary in order to display all sections consistently, in another way. For example, to display everything inline. To this end, in the detail layout we have the control, all sections content, only valid there. This is a section container. By default, the detail layout is only started with this control. Of course, others can be added as usual. The control takes the platform default value in its display property. This value causes the change in behavior as we've just mentioned, but we can modify it so that it takes the inline value, for example. In this way, all sections will be displayed in the same screen, as we can see on the screen to the left. But, what if we don't want all sections to be displayed in the same way? For example, if we open the list of sessions, and for a session's detail we want to see its sections not as tabs, but the general section inline. Also, the speaker section should be a link to a separate screen, which was the default behavior in the iPad. It won't be enough to open the detail node of Work with Sessions, select the control, all sections content, and change the display property value, because what value would we select? Remember that we want the general section to be displayed inline, and we want the speakers section to be displayed as a link to a separate screen. So we open the toolbox, click on the control, all sections content, and remove it from the layout. Once this is done, we will see that not only this control will be automatically displayed in order to reinsert it, but also a section content for each section, so as to insert them individually. These are like content placeholders where the section layouts will be loaded. So, we drag the general section and do the same with the speakers section. If we open the properties, we can see that the display property is still displayed, and it indicates how this section will be displayed. But now, it can only take one of these two values, inline or link. Of course, it will not be able to take the tabs value. We want this section to be displayed, inline. If we open the other one, we want it to be displayed as a link. We must pay attention, as usual, to the size of each row. Note that each row takes 100% of the space. Therefore, the first section will take all the space available, and the second section, corresponding to the link, will not be displayed. So we will change the size of the second row to set it to platform default. In this way, this platform default space will be reserved for this section, and the remaining 100% will be taken by the general section, with scroll feature if needed. Let's press F5 and try what we've done. We can see that the tabs are no longer displayed and that the link is shown. We may delete sections from our work with object. In fact, if we open the transaction structure, we can see that the tracks level is not represented in the pattern. The reason is that it was previously removed. Likewise, we can add sections. They may be existing sections, such as the track section, or new ones. We can see that the layout is empty. We open the toolbox, add a grid, for example, and the track description attribute. We must not forget to declare the parm rule to show only the tracks of the corresponding session ID. Just like in web panels, the attributes displayed in the parm rule will not participate in determining the grid's base table. Therefore, if it's the only attribute included, the base table found will be tracks, and it won't be the desired one. The desired table is the one corresponding to the second level of the session transaction, that is to say, the relationship table. In order to filter precisely the tracks of this session, therefore, at the grid level, we need to indicate, among its properties, the base trn property, which indicates that it will be session.tracks. That is to say, the table associated with that level. If we execute it now, since the detail node doesn't have the control associated with the section we've just entered, nothing will be displayed about tracks. Now suppose that we want the general and track sections to be displayed as tabs, and the speakers section to continue to be displayed as a link, in the same screen shown in the general section. An option to solve this is to insert a tab control, and on page 1, place the general section and the speakers section. We will set the properties to configure the tab's caption. We'll call it Info. And in the second tab page, that we will call Tracks, we will place it from the toolbox. We delete the third page and move the control up. Also, we make sure that the rows are taking the desired space. In this case, there's only one section, so it's okay that it takes 100% of the space available. In addition, note that the display property by default is inline, which is what we want. In the other cases we had inline for the first section and link for the second one. F5. We open the sessions and select one with more than one track. For example, this one. As we can see, both tabs are displayed, the first one with general information and speakers details with the link. And the second one with the grid showing the tracks. And what if we wanted this behavior only in Android devices and another behavior for iOS? For example, everything in line or some sections displayed and others hidden. We can create a different layout for each platform. We will see it in the next videos. Here we've seen a small example of how to work with the section containers of the work with detail, in order to change the way in which sections are displayed. In the next video, we will examine a control that allows for absolute positioning in the layout, that is to say, overlapping controls. This will be seen combined with the possibility to transform a control by moving it, rotating it, or resizing it.